What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm your boy, the Boxing Jedi, and welcome to the Boxing Jedi's Temple. Just wanted to give you a quick little live here because I know I promised that I would come up earlier, but yeah, I got my cluster headaches going on right now, so I'm gonna try to fight the storm with this, but I just wanted to give Punch Drunk a little old school video response to his video that he just made. Peace to my brother Punch Drunk, no doubt. That was some good content. It's also good to, it's good to keep, the ball rolling. So allow me to be the first to reply to your video, my brother. Okay, so you say that Edgar Berlanga. What's up, Star Wars Dad? What's going on, my brother? I miss you too, my bro. I hope everything's all right, man. All right, so if I sound like this, it's because I'm going through a cluster headache right now. So excuse me, guys. All right, so you said that Edgar Berlanga doesn't need any more rounds, right? You said that he can keep going. If we want to see rounds, we should go in the ring with him and all this, all the fancy schmancy stuff you said. Okay, look, that what really made me want to answer you was you came out and said, but that's not how boxing goes. Now, let me explain something to you and everyone else. All right. If a man who is a professional fighter does not add more rounds in order for him to gain pedigree, then what good is he? You got to understand this now. When you put in more rounds, when people say that they need to see Edgar Berlanga fight more rounds, doesn't precisely mean that they want this kid to right away step in to someone who's going to murder him, because let's not forget, he did call out Canelo Alvarez. So if this man does not, Berlanga that is, if this man does not add more rounds to his regimen or to his career, in which is going to give him pedigree, then what do you think is going to happen when him and Canelo Alvarez fight? Canelo Alvarez is going to have the experience and is going to beat his ass. What's going on, Rosclaw 222, piece of the MOBC as well. What's going on, bro? You know, you got to understand this. A man who doesn't put in his rounds with fights, not in the gym, in real fights, is not going to have any type of pedigree. What's going to happen is the same thing that happened with Wilder, the same thing what happened with Tyson, the same thing that happened with Shannon Briggs. So people want Berlanga to be a one-hit quitter with no boxing skill, with no longevity in rounds as to being, because let me tell you something, and Mike Tyson will tell you this too, everybody, you got to understand, not every fight is going to end in a knockout. And I also saw somebody in the comment section say, yeah, motherfuckers are stupid because as soon as they ask him to go, to put more rounds and he don't knock everybody out, then they're gonna say the power's gone. No, that's not the case. It's just harder for him to knock guys out because he is putting in more rounds. He is experiencing what's called boxing, not just going in the ring and just knocking a motherfucker out, because he's not gonna be able to do that a lot. And he just called out Canelo. What do you think Canelo is going to do to him if this man does not up his pedigree? You got to understand this. Maybe the way he's punching might be, making others susceptible because they don't have that chin as to what the elite, as to a Canelo Alvarez would. So let's just say Berlanga lands a punch like that on Canelo, and Canelo doesn't budge, and he just keeps coming forward. Then what's going to be said? What's going to be said? What's going to be said? You know what's going to be said. Canelo was either on clenbuterol or but they won't miss they won't bring up the fact that Berlanga was too premature, which is what's going on. And I can understand people going around with the hate and stuff, but when a motherfucker like myself and other guys who have watched the sport, about who have done a lot, you gotta understand, bro. When we say he needs more rounds, he needs more rounds, meaning, okay, meaning he needs to up his pedigree. He needs to box a bit more. Not every fight is going to end with a knockout. Not every one of his fights are going to end in the first round. What happens when he can't knock the dude out in the first, second, third, fourth round? And what you know what's going to happen? He's going to start gassing. He's going to start running out of punch selection because he didn't have enough experience to gain a punch selection. This is exactly why guys got to be careful of what they say. It's okay to ask questions and say, you know what, maybe I misconstrued that. But when the saying in boxing, more rounds, there's a meaning to that. And the reason why fighters need to add more rounds, I mean, think about it. A fighter just doesn't get nice with only 26 rounds. If you go to BoxRec right now, like what I did with the Danny Garcia versus the Hector Macho Camacho, right? It's not even longevity, it's the experience. Those rounds that you put into your fights are the rounds that give you your pedigree. Every fight, you learn something new. So this kid wants Canelo next. Fuck around. Canelo just might take him next. And if he loses, nobody could say anything because you guys prematurely pushed him in there. What's up, Joe 56? What's going on, my brother? How you doing, kiddo? So I can understand at certain points where you're coming from and everyone else when they say this, but Wilder needed more rounds. Right? And he needed everything else. He needed to fight the right people. Uh Mike Tyson learned, and he even said it, he needed more rounds. You can't, you know, and I'm going to say this because it's true. It's not that we're telling him what to do. In order to gain experience, knocking guys out with a punch, that's not gaining any experience. But now him fighting and going 7, 8 rounds, the attrition, that's boxing. You show me a fighter, right? You show me a fighter who has retired undefeated and knocked every fighter out. So it's a bit asinine for people to say that Burlanga doesn't need more rounds. And it's not all the time that when we say he needs more rounds, we're taking punishment. We want him to take more punishment. No, punishment comes with the game. Getting touched comes with the game. That comes with the territory. You're gonna get touched whether you like it or not. But you do have to understand that a fighter must fight. So now, since people think that he don't need any type of pedigree, just that one punch and that going in low, and okay, no problem. Now, what happens when he fights someone that's much more skilled than him? Doesn't have that much power, but is able to neutralize his power. And see, these are the things that he needs. He needs to learn that they can neutralize him, especially fighting a Canelo. You're exactly correct, Joe. You're exactly correct, Joe 56. No doubt, brother. You see, what happens when he gets neutralized? And that power, right? That person has that power on pause. They have his power on pause. You mean to tell me that he wouldn't need any rounds to learn how to escape that? Because you don't learn everything in the gym. Now, don't get that twisted. Don't get that twisted. I know how boxing goes. And it's not all the time that you're going to build up a perfect fight game in the motherfucking. Sometimes that fight plan gets changed. And right on the spot, you got to switch it up. So if fellas don't want Berlanga to go extra, to gain extra rounds with fighters by fighting, then don't expect him to have any type of longevity against guys that can actually box, guys that can actually neutralize his power. Because when you get trapped, you have to learn how to escape. So what you're saying here is He's doing just fine. He doesn't need to learn anything else. That's basically what you're saying. That's basically what people are saying with this. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now, I can understand the critique telling people who just want to see him thrown in harm's way. I can understand that. That's not the reason why. But at the same time, we are the same people who want the other people's fighters put into harm's way, which is called competitiveness. Because if motherfuckers are competitive in that ring, they are bringing harm to each other. Bottom line, it's a man sport. Fuck all this shit, this ticket punching shit. That's how boxing is. Boxing is measured by rounds. You gain your experience and your pedigree by rounds. And to actually say that a fighter like Burlanga, who's young, 16 and 0, only 16 and 0, doesn't need any more rounds. He don't need to get in there and fight. He don't no, he does. He does. He does. Because if he fights, so if he let's just say he doesn't take Canelo, he takes someone that's, you know, let's just say he does, let's just say Demetrius Andrade fights him, right? Because they're 160. So let's say Demetrius Andrade fights him and neutralizes Berlanga to the point that Berlanga is smothered. He can't, he's getting boxed up, he's swinging, but he's just hitting elbows. Then what happens after that? What can people say? Nothing. Except for this kid, before he took this fight, should have fought correctly. This is why I give that term. Motherfuckers need to fight correctly. There are levels to this. So by him not gaining the levels, which are rounds, what you're doing is you're skipping this kid up to get pulverized. To get pulverized. We can't just go and look into the sport all crazy and shit. Like, oh no, fuck that. He don't need this. He don't need that. He's doing just fine. No, 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 no. He could be doing just fine for the moment. But there's always that one person who's going to test that motherfucker. And it is up to that motherfucker to pass that test coming from the other motherfucker. And that's what makes a great motherfucking fight. So this isn't any type of smoke. This is just breaking down exactly what rounds mean to a fighter. What's up, soccer training? What's going on, brother? This is exactly what I'm breaking down. What rounds do for a fighter. If people do not agree that these young look, perfect example. Danny Garcia was doing perfect at 140. He didn't have no business moving up, right? But as Terence Crawford kept getting closer, he moved up. Now, what happened to Danny? I'll tell you what happened to Danny. For being incomplete at 140 and not getting those extra rounds, and then just going to 147, in which he was fighting motherfuckers who had more rounds than he did. What happened? Exactly. Exactly. Look at Terence Crawford. Closed the division. And before that, so all them rounds got him to exactly where he is to be feared at 147. Rounds are needed. Are you crazy? You guys are bugging out if you think that a fighter doesn't need any more rounds in order to build up his game, son. That's just like saying Michael Jordan won a championship ring once. So at the beginning of the year, he don't need to, the whole Bulls team, since they won their last year's championship, they don't have to fucking go through the whole season again. They could just defend their title and beat the guys who actually went through all of that through the finals. I mean, through the semifinals to get to the finals to them. Oh, and by the way, they don't have to play 7 games. That's impossible. That's exactly what that analogy right there is exactly what you're saying with this. Roscoe said, no one is going to beat Canelo, not even beat a beef. You know, It's not for anyone to take what I'm saying offensively. It's not for anyone to take this as, oh, he's throwing smoke at. No, 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 no. But it seems like there's a slight misunderstanding with today's boxing and pure boxing, like boxing itself. Because today's boxing, you know, you can say, people can say, anybody can say, oh, now you're tearing boxing down. I never tore boxing down. Boxing tore itself down with all these fucking delusional motherfuckers in here and all these sanctioning bodies that are crooked. And no, no, no. The Jedi ain't fuck boxing up. The Jedi speaks the truth. The Jedi is telling you and everyone else that rounds are needed for fighters. You must think that this man is gonna what, eat spinach or something, or he's just gonna watch boxing and then just get in the ring, train of course, but then get in the ring and no, no, no. Pedigree is needed for fighters. This is how they build themselves up. All them rounds, that's how they build themselves up. That's how they learn. That's how they go through attrition. Know what I'm saying? You gotta look at the whole playing field of boxing today. This is exactly what guys want. They don't want to go through all them rounds to become great, but they just want to be great after what? 23, 25, 26 rounds? And then people are going to cape for that and say, yeah, a 26 round fighter is the greatest. He's he's fucking the GOAT. That's what's going on today. So when people say that they need to prove to me, those people that are saying that are absolutely correct when it comes to these new green fighters. These guys need to show us more. I mean, we can't just right away turn around and say, well, you're just a fight fan. You can't tell this man. First of all, he's fighting for himself, of course, but of course, he's getting money from who? Us, the spectators. Let's not fucking get stupid here. Let's not forget that it is us, the fight fans, that are the boss. It is them that are putting on a show for us, right? Right? Exactly. So we can throw that shit out the window where people are saying this shit. Us fight fans have a right to tell these motherfuckers what they're doing and what they're not doing. It is the ones that ridicule, the ones that troll, the ones that just are neo boxing fans, are the ones that do not deserve to say anything because their criticism is destructive. But people like myself on here, we're giving them constructive criticism. So when you hear me say Burlanga needs more fucking rounds, it's not right off the top or off the back where you should take it as, oh wow, he's really dissing him. Now he's saying that he needs to learn more. Yeah. Every fight, every fighter, even a champion, learns even more. You can't sit there and say you know everything in life because every day we learn something motherfucking new. So let's cut the bullshit out. Let's stop pointing fingers and let's start taking, what's the magic word, boys and girls? Accountability for the bullshit that's being spewed here. That is the way boxing is. You need rounds. You need experience. You need to gain the experience. You need to take the pedigree from the man you just fought. Just like you did the one prior to that one and the one you're going to fight after this one. That's the problem here. This is the problem. You guys want to make boxing stars out of guys who aren't really boxing stars. Most of these guys aren't really fucking boxers, bro. Go into the gym and that's not really a way to break something down to a fight fan or anyone who's trying to understand what needs to be said as to rounds. But what I'm gonna say is there's no need for a fight fan who actually sees the loopholes in his game and especially the people he's calling out that are better than him can actually destroy this kid. I mean, let's call us fucking let's call a fat ass, kid. If it's a fat ass, whether it's on a good looking chick or a fucking ugly chick, it's a fat ass, right? So this is the fat ass here. Let's tell the truth here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Berlanga's premature. All these guys are premature. We're not putting nobody down. But think about it. Look at BoxRec. Look into their records, wherever the fuck you get your records from, the resumes. Look at the greats, rounds fought, and bouts, and look at these guys. I'm telling you, guys, guys, gotta stop hiding these guys, bro. Roscoe says, a lot of these new guys coming up don't plan on fighting each other. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is why motherfuckers titties get hard and their fucking assholes get wet as soon as they get a little fight like a Spencer and a Garcia. What the fuck are y'all getting excited for? They're supposed to fight each other. As a matter of fact, they should be fighting each other about what, 2 more times, kid? But that ain't gonna happen. And the only way they will fight each other 2 or 3 times is to duck Terrence Crawford, giving y'all the rerun. And then y'all saying that was a great fight. That was it. And the misuse of the word great as well. Every fighter this decade is great. Every fight that this past is great. No, 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 no. Oh, no. I'm sorry, but I'm speaking what I'm speaking. I don't want nobody to take this as smoke or the wrong way, but bouts are very important in the sport of boxing. Okay? You actually need that. If you didn't have any rounds, then you ain't fighting. And you could have about like Wilder, you can have all those fucking rounds, bro, and those are all empty bodies because there was only two of them that gave you a problem. So now when he goes in with a guy who had more rounds than him, more experience, what happens? Got his ass beat. But I partially agree with telling the other people, the ones that troll and make fun, hey, you want to see extra rounds since you don't know what you talk about? Then you go in the ring with him. I can understand that. But all around, now that I'm sorry, but that can't be said because that's just like saying Mike Tyson didn't have to fight 32 times in 1 year, 25 times in 1 year in order for him. What do you think he was fighting so much back then? It wasn't even about the fight. It was about him gaining his pedigree, gaining his experience to the point that when he went to the tippy top, no, he was unstoppable. That is all that needs to be said. Berlanga should get more rounds in order for him to be the new Puerto Rican Mike Tyson or to just be himself. The Puerto Rican Berlanga, dog. And I got a lot of faith in this kid. This is why I need him to get more rounds, more experience. You know what I'm saying? Roscoe says, I saw a comment today about fighters are being smarter and playing it safe. Shaking my head. I didn't know boxing was meant to be safe. And to tell you the truth, I didn't know that you know, Roscoe, boxing consisted of so much, safety, right? Right? Because I can understand. See, our era when we watch boxing, we have motherfuckers like Panama, Lewis, loading gloves and shit and giving niggas shit, right? You had all types of shit on gloves, and we didn't have this problem where motherfuckers are pissing and testing dirty. We didn't have a problem where motherfuckers were hesitant to make fights. You know what I'm saying? Things were done. Things were done. And regardless, look, I'm gonna use it again because this is a perfect prime example. When Marlon Starling moved up to fight Michael Nunn, I was scared to death for Marlon Starling. As a fight fan, I was scared to death because I knew what was going to happen to him. But and then I said to myself, wait a minute. This is Marlon Starling. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing. If he didn't feel comfortable or he didn't agree with it at all within himself and his soul, he never would have taken this fight. So let me just sit back and what happened? It turned out to be a pretty good, decent fight, regardless he got fucking slumped out. But so what I'm saying here is it's okay to want these guys to fight harder. It's okay for you guys to want these fighters not because of the self-righteous entertainment, no. But if you really follow fighters and you want them to get better, this is what you must want for them. More rounds. Now, those that are saying more rounds in a malicious way where you want to see this man get hurt, then I can understand. You guys don't need to be saying that. But fight fans like myself, yourself, guys here the fellas here on the chat, and those that run into this, they're gonna agree with me. They're gonna agree with me 100%. A pitcher in the major leagues or anywhere, varsity, wherever, gotta understand. If you don't put that pitcher in a game where he's going to be pressured, where he's never going to be a world-class pitcher. This man is never going to help you get a motherfucking World Series. He's never going to know how to shut out and pitch a perfect shutout. How do you think guys like Nolan Ryan, Dwight Gooden, Oral Hershiser, guys got these guys were put into positions prematurely and they lost some. But as they built them up, they won a lot. In Berlanga's case, you don't want to put him in there so prematurely with somebody and they beat him the fuck up to the point that he don't respond or come back the way he used to. See, because to push a young talent like that, that shit can hurt his pride. I mean, look what's happening to Wilder, right? I'm not saying he's Wilder, but that shit can hurt his pride. Of course, he's going to take it either two ways. He's either going to, be humble about it and or he's going to want to, get his revenge. No doubt, no doubt. I respect all of that. But all that could be avoided if you just let this kid go through the levels instead of just pushing him in front of motherfuckers just because you're impressed, because y'all are impressed by the way he knocks guys out in the first round. Listen, I was impressed the way Shannon the Cannon Briggs used to knock motherfuckers out, but I always said, just like Mike Tyson, I always said, what happens when he don't knock everyone out? Not and Mike Tyson didn't knock it. Mike Tyson ain't knocked Mitch Green out. In the street he did, but Mitch Green brought him all through 12, son. And a couple of other guys did too. Same thing with Shavers. Same thing with Hagler. So going through the levels is boxing. That is the way boxing is done. You know what I mean? What's up, Chris Court? How you doing? How you doing, my brother? Hope your day was blessed, bro. Floyd said, Ross Class says, Floyd did the same versus Marquez. Yep, he said he needed the rounds, and this was from established vets. Exactly. Exactly, bro. Chris Court says, I hate the best boxers only fight 2 times a year. They should stay way more active. Exactly. Exactly. Now I don't know exactly how young you are, Mr. Court, or how old you are, but if you remember Mike Tyson used to fight about 24 times to 32 times a year, right? Then after that, he was fighting 3 times a year. Other fighters too, other champions as well. This is what I'm saying. Like, for people to say things that they're saying now and then say that that's not how boxing is done, but things have been set way before they said that in order for them to see that that's the way boxing is done. It's either a bias or they're just not watching boxing and they're just trying to new wave the shit. You know what I'm saying? I got Mitch Green versus Wilder, Chris. I see Mitch Green fucking definitely. That was a good one. That was a good Mitch Green versus Wilder. Ross Klotz says Ali used to fight a lot in 1 year. Exactly. Exactly. Now this shit, this myth with, oh, you want him to take damage? The fighting, listen. It could just take 2 fights, 3 fights in order for a fighter to be damaged. You know what I'm saying? It could be their first fight that they get in there and they get punched into a coma, son, and never come back. It's a dangerous sport. You know what I'm saying? Chris says, I'm 22, bro, but I grew up watching Tyson, Roy Jones, Miguel Cotto, and Pac-Man. That's what's up, brother. I respect that. That's what's up. That's what's up. That's a good watching pedigree, dog. No doubt. Rosclaw says, Mitch Green, Chintuku, and stamina too good. Yeah, hell yeah. But like, yo, guys back then, bro, they were warriors, bro. You know, and I'm not saying that these guys today aren't, but they're more like, if I had to compare them, bro, it's like these guys are more like, you know, they they're more like they're more like warriors in training. Like this era just reminds me of that boxing program that used to come on where Sergio Moro was on. I forgot the name of it. The boxing program where they it was what was it, the last round or something like that. I forgot what it was called. And Sugar Ray Leonard was on it, and you know what I mean. That's exactly what this era feels like. I feel like these guys are just fighting, and whoever gets the loudest cheer from the crowd is the new star. You know what I'm saying? Roskla says, Kato, you wouldn't be wrong if you said that these boxers today aren't warriors. Look how they get down. They didn't want to be the best. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. It's just I can't put all of them into that bracket, but some I can. You know what I'm saying, Ross Clark? Some I can. You know, it's very confusing. Not disturbing. It's confusing to hear that, you know, there's certain favoritisms and bias, right? Because they don't want to see fighters get hurt, or they don't want to see fighters go through this or go through that, or but they have to go through this and go through that. What they shouldn't be going through is stripped opportunities to pass to the next dude, skipped opportunities, or no opportunity at all. You know what I mean? That's about the only thing. But I just feel that boxing should stay boxing. That's it. If a motherfucker needs more rounds and we need to see more, there is nothing wrong with that because that's what needs to be done. You know, people act like just because we act. Look, Ross Clark could say Burlanga needs more rounds, and this motherfucker's by next year. Let's just say the end of next year or close to the end of next year, this motherfucker got 4 fights in a year. What would you call that? What's up, Tony Boswell? What's going on, brother? Good evening. What would you call that? That would be called for getting his rounds in. Regardless of the fact, Berlanga's gonna get his rounds in. I just hope that he gets good, profitable, not money wise, but pedigree wise, good, profitable rounds in his career against good, the guys that have made themselves good and worth something. I hope he does face them. But there's a ladder he's got to climb before he gets into a ring with Canelo Alvarez, in which he basically said he'd like to fight him next. Like, you know, that's a little bit over the top. That's not even caping for the kid when I say he should not be in there with Canelo if that's going to be. He should not. He shouldn't even be asking for that fight. I don't care how much people are going to say, oh, I'm saying he's just saying this to make himself look. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. because all that does is it's like selling a lie. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Tony. He needs 3 to 4 more before a top 3 to 5 opponent. Exactly. This is exactly what I'm saying. Exactly, my brother. Thank you, Tony. No doubt. This is what Rosclad is saying. This is what Chris is saying. This is what a lot of people are saying. Rounds need to be gained in order to gain a goddamn pedigree. All the greats. Look how many rounds they fought, bro. There are no shortcuts in boxing unless you're stipulated and you have a lot of clauses in your contracts. And I can't see Burlanga with no type of gimmick. I just see him as a hard fighter, and he needs to continue to fight even harder until he becomes the hardest. You know what I'm saying? Tony says, but if real boxing fans say that, we're hating. Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Tony. Roscoe says, what happens when the KO artist can't KO the guy and he's taken into deep waters? He's a dead duck. Exactly. This is exactly what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? But Longa's 160, Chris. You know what I'm saying? He's 160. This is what I was saying, Rosclad. This is what I was saying, Tony. This is what I was saying, Chris. This is what I was saying, everyone. That and hit the like button on the way in, bro. Let these motherfuckers know that you like this channel. Uh, this is what I was saying. Like, if he has no rounds, then he hasn't fought. And if he has bullshit rounds, and he fights someone that's not bullshit, what happens to that? What happens to that guy who just decided to? You know what I'm saying? And this has been shown before. This has been shown before. I think he's 160, 168. I think he's one of those two. I'm not really sure. I think it's 168, if I'm mistaken. The thing here is a lot of guys want to graduate these youngsters at such a fast pace, and then when they crash and burn, nothing is said as to, yeah, he did it too soon. He should have chilled out. I was wrong. See, you will never catch me, Rasclot, or anyone else apologizing or taking accountability for shit like that, because we know what it is, bro. We will never, and I repeat, we will never push any of these young fighters, bro, into the Hall of Fame so quickly. Uh, we will never put them on and it's not hating, it's the truth. You can't put Anthony Joshua, even though he's like the best heavyweight right now, or Tyson Fury next to a Mike Tyson, next to a Muhammad Ali. You just can't. You just can't. Why is that? Why is that? See, it's funny how Sugar Ray Leonard, he admired Muhammad Ali. As a matter of fact, he was baby Ali, right? How do you think he got to be that way? Yeah, all them rounds. And this is where now we get to kill two birds with one stone. Because a lot of you guys used to say that the greats used to fight cab drivers. Okay. So here's where I shut you guys down. The rounds that these guys got are the most action personified slash professional slash pedigreed rounds that any fighter. What's up, Chain with ice? Salute, my brother. Good to see you. This is exactly why these guys were killers. You think these guys today? You think by saying that this kid who's a knockout artist so far, he's showing us, doesn't need any more rounds because people feel that he doesn't need to take punishment. Punishment will be given regardless of the fact. So put that shit out the door. It's boxing, not tag. You know what I'm saying? Roscoe says we don't have Hall of Fame fighters today because they ain't fighting each other. Yep, to be so. Exactly. Now when you look in every era, what why should this era be any different? When you've got guys still doing what needs to be done in other sports, the way the sport calls for it to be done in order for them to try to surpass those that have been there before them. So when you're saying this now, how does that make sense? Right? How does that make sense? Errol Spence Jr. has 2 titles. Whoopee. He ain't a Hall of Famer. Why? Because he got 2 titles? He's not a Hall of Famer. When you put guys in there that have unified and closed their divvies, short for divisions, Hall of Famers. When you got guys who are like 15-0 in championship fights, those are Hall of Famers. When you got guys who have beaten the best in their division and then moved up and beat the best in that division, those are Hall of Famers. Joe, no doubt, Daniel Dubois didn't have rounds. Exactly, precisely, correct, my brother. Exactly. You see what I mean there? You see how I did that with the round? You see that? You see that, gentlemen? You see that? That my man Joe 56 got it down. He knows exactly what I mean. There's a perfect example right there. Daniel Dubois didn't have enough rounds. And what happened to Daniel Dubois can happen to Burlanga. You know what I'm saying? Tony says, see, this is what happens to good or great guys that come up in boxing, get get talking into jumping into infested waters without a life, preserver or a harpoon. Exactly, bro. Exactly, Tony. Exactly. Well said. Roscott says, someone said Porter was a Hall of Famer. Shaking my head. Porter 1-3 in big fights. Sorry, next. Exactly. Keith Thurman is no Hall of Famer. Keith Thurman is no Hall of Famer. But now when you look at somebody like a Terrence Crawford who was partially unified at 135, went to 140, closed that divvy, unified and undefeated, then comes to 147, still undefeated, has a strap already, was promised by these so-called big fighters like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr. Yeah, you need a strap. You get a strap, and it's strap season. Okay, it's been strap season for the past, what, 3 years, 2.5 years, bro? It's been strap season since then. What happened? You guys are basically not seeing what we see. You guys are not seeing what we see. And that's the sweet science. Even in science, and I'm the analogy king, so even in science, when you make a cure, do you know how many trials they have to go through? So now, when you look at the sweet science in fighting, it is the rounds that come with the fights that builds a fighter and gives him his pedigree. They learn and they learn some more. This is why it's important for fighters to have rounds. You don't have rounds? That experience, boy? Whew. Look at Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman didn't have enough rounds for Pacquiao. Jesse Vargas didn't have enough rounds for Pacquiao. This is what happens. This is what happens, people. And I'm so glad that you guys see the sport of boxing. They ain't shit that nobody can tell Joe, Tony, Chris, Roscliffe, everyone else on here. Nobody can tell y'all nothing. Today, I got respect from other fight fans that have come from other pages. I hadn't seen them in a long time. It felt pretty good for them to say, "Yo, Jedi, I'm impressed. You really have moved yourself away from other boxing platforms." The problem is that I've always been a different platform. Like I've always separated myself. I've always did a lot of, you know, good collaborations and shit and helping people get on, and you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when you take a look at my videos, you will see that I've always been in a class by myself. Rosclot has always been in a class by himself. There are uploaders today that are in classes by themselves. But the reason why we're still here, all the way from 2012, guys have been here since YouTube started. The reason why they're still here is because they got their rounds in every video, every fight. Even when it came to interviews, there are levels. There are levels in everything. You put something together, you got to read the instructions. What does the instructions tell you? Step one, step two, step three, step four, step five, all the way to what? Until the shit is assembled. Analogy, King. But I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, oh, look who stepped into the building. What's going on, Toby? Sean Toby, what's going on, kiddo? Good to see you, man. Good evening over there. No doubt, man. Let's see. Roscoe says Crawford became undisputed at 140. That's already Hall of Fame material itself. Yes, sir. Ask fighters about his rival. Guaranteed his reply will be, I just want to get home to my family and rest. Talk to my promoter. No doubt. No doubt. Tony says, same with Wilder. If he had been brought up in the ranks the proper, yep, proper, and let Breland train him, yep, the right way to box instead of JD's way, maybe, just maybe, he would have had a chance with Fury. Yep. But he met a real one. Yes, sir, Tony. Yes, sir. You're absolutely correct, dog. Toby says, the chat, I'm in again with my 2 likes. And those 2 likes are appreciated, brother. No doubt. And this is all I'm saying. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not saying that, it's just, it is what it is. Life consists of levels in order to be great. Sometimes in order to be great, you have to lose great things. I will repeat this again. In order to be great, you will sometimes lose something great. And that's the toughest part about winning. When you win, it is a victory, but you lose too. Every time a fighter wins for that victory, he loses a piece of himself. See, what do you guys out here really know about boxing psychology if you haven't been in the ring yourself? And even if you haven't been in the ring yourself and you just happen to read autobiographies and biographies of fighters and documentaries, and if you can put yourself in that position, then you see exactly where I'm getting at. Boxing is all mental. And if a fighter doesn't enter the ring with a clear mind, he will lose. If a fighter does not have a clear mind and doesn't have enough rounds to combat the combatant, he's gonna lose. And it's most likely going to be in the most horrific way. Mistakes are made in the ring, of course. But it is not all the time, like I said in the beginning of this live, it's not all the time that a knockout artist is going to knock everyone out. It's not all the time that you're going to have a wonderful fight. Things just don't go your way sometimes in there, bro. And with a kid like Burlanga, the levels are exactly what he needs. Because I can see this kid taking it to the top, fight by fight, impressing us, showing us his pedigree. The knockout's still there, but oh shit, he did it in the third. And not only did he do it in the third, he boxed his way to that knockout. Because this is always the problem with fight fans. They want to put a hard hitter with a guy that can fight, with a guy that can box, a guy that punches in angles, a guy. Then the big puncher gets neutralized. And then no accountability is taken from the fight fan. The ones that said, "Oh, I'm saying he's gonna knock him out, son." Da, da, da. Okay, all right, all right. But I do hope that you guys put it across your mind that not every fight is going to end in a knockout. Okay, you had Mike Tyson. You had a lot of fucking. You had knockout artists. I'm talking about Michelangelo's of knockouts, and they weren't able to knock everyone out. It's not, So it's good that the extra rounds come in for this kid, and this kid learns from those rounds and learns how to throw a couple of jabs and a lot of head movement, and light on his toes, not being so flat footed, and able to cut the fucking ring off at will. Move a lot of motherfuckers going backwards. No fighter ever making him go backwards unless he's adjusting. All these rounds are needed. Shantobi says, Tim Bradley used to tell his wife every fight, remember me like this because I'm not gonna be 100% the same after the fight. Yeah, that's 1,000% there, bro. Tony says, Mr. Boswell says, time and place for everything. Exactly. Exactly. So I just wanted to make that clear. Loud and clear, perfectly clear. And if Punch Drunk, anybody want to see me on this subject, you know where to reach me. I'm in these parts. You know where to reach me. But the rounds are needed for every fighter. Otherwise than that, you guys have a great night. I'm your boy, Jake Cotto, the Boxing Jedi, telling the truth within the sport of boxing and life itself. God bless. Stay vigilant. Peace, fellas.